Hello, my name is Rob, and today I will look at news surrounding the fire in Los Angeles. I'll talk a little bit about the politics and I'll find some climate reports. I haven't read things in advance for this stream. I hope that there's um, I wish the people in the Los Angeles area well. I know that they're going through a lot right now. Um, and I'll also play some Fallout on this stream. So I'm just going to set up the news. Yeah, so I'm just setting up the news. Okay, so this is from the Guardian newspaper. And I should also mention that this comes at a time when those threats from the U.S. incoming U.S. administration targeting Canadian sovereignty. Those California wildfires live updates, nighttime curfew ordered for parts of Los Angeles to prevent further looting. I also talked about how conspiracy theories increase when those natural disasters. So I might see some of those being talked about. There's a summary of the day so far. Let's see. Curfew is between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. on all mandatory evacuation zones in the Palos, Dees, and Eaton areas. And then those quote, you can't not be in these affected areas. Oh, I think it should say you can't. I think there's a typo. If you are subject to arrest, LA Sheriff Robert Lina said. That's from the Guardian. Let's see. The Palos Dees file, it says 8% contained. And then hopefully I'll look at the climate, what's caused it, There was the Eaton file, which is 3% contained. There's the host file, Kenneth file, Lydia file. Those 153 people under evacuation orders with 166,800 people under evacuation warnings. Oh, there's a drone that was flying into a aircraft. And then there was also in at least one of these files, I will mention that with climate change, those files will be worse. Let's see, LA file, climate, there's an article in the Time magazine that I'll look at. I trust Time magazine. LA files show the reality of a world with 1.5 degrees of warming. And that's by Jeffrey Klugel. And it says it's a 12-minute read. Okay, and it's a multi-day blaze that began on January 7th. 180,000 residents were forced to evacuate their homes. Oh, why does it? Oh. I don't have the highlight function. Oh, I should go to news and yeah, 10 people have lost their lives. In this, it's likely to be more, unfortunately. I don't know. Nursing residents were evacuated. And yeah, climate change is impacting people of all economic statuses. Los Angeles has both the very rich and people struggling to find housing. So it's all statuses in North America. And globally. Wildfires do not care about jurisdictional boundaries, said Kathleen Ball-Joel. At a news conference. Yeah, it's unfortunate that President Trump blamed um, Governor Newsom for the forest fires. Um, and President Joe Biden in the U.S. Like, Canada has had its own forest fires as well. Um, um, so he said, no water in the fire hydrants, no money in FEMA. This is what Joe Biden is leaving me. Thanks, Joe. The issue is increasing severity of extreme weather that is fanning the flames, and urban expansion into areas that will not that will not homes previously or housing. And then there's also the lack of forest fires in previous years. And displacement of indigenous people who practice fire, who had unique fire practices based on each nation that limited the spread of fires. Oh, why is it? I thought my... Oh yeah, here, my video is down there. Um, um, yeah, like California and parts of the U.S. are known to have depleted their water resources. So I don't know where this extra water would be coming from. The Janice Quinos, head of the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, said the demand for water was 4 times greater than we've ever seen in the system. So there really wasn't any thing that could be done in terms of water. Because if you see something that, like, ever seen in the system, I don't think there was any preparation for that. And then it says in the article, there are four bigger factors at play in the disaster. Factors that have less to do with local politics and institutional preparedness and more to do with existential matters of a planet grown sickly from climate change. Those bigger storms causing causing more and greater destruction. And then there's another sentence from the article. Fixing the problem first requires understanding, and even more fundamentally, accepting the science. Only then can we implement policies and put in place protocols that help us both reduce the likelihood of more such crises and minimize the death and destruction when they ultimately do occur. And then we know that climate change increases fires, increases droughts, flooding, heat wave, lightning, and we can absorb that. And then there was a report from the European Space Agency's Copernicus Climate Change Service that was on January 10th. I'll click that link after I read this. It said 2024 was the first year global mean temperatures exceeded pre-industrial levels by 1.6 degrees Celsius, which is mentioned in the 2015 Paris Climate Accord, and they wanted to limit future warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius in the 21st century. And this is an eye-opening quote. In Southern California, the report could be read by the light of a burning city. Well, at one point, the rapidly moving fire incinerated the equivalent of 5 football fields per minute. This year, 7.8 million acres. Have been, this has been a bad year for forest fires. It's 38,000 wildfires and 7.8 million acres. And then it's saying drought is becoming more common. And I'm just going to. As our planet continues to heat up, droughts are getting more intense in some regions of the world. And we know that, like, Canada has not been spared. It had a bad year in 2023. Those, like, record heat waves in British Columbia, and people have died in all different cities. Southern California is not remotely the only tinderbox part of the world, but it's a especially flammable one. Let's see. Just gotta. Just checking the notifications. And then it's saying wildfires are hardly the only sign of a global warming world or the dangerous mile marker we've passed in 2024 when we crossed the 1.5 degrees excess warming documented in Copernicus report. How did I get the... Make sure I have 2024 was the hottest year since records began in 1850. Human-generated greenhouse emissions were not the only factors that made 2024 so punishing. From May 2023 to May 2024, an El Nino current prevailed in the tropical Pacific, which drove sea surface temperatures to a record high of 20.87 degrees Celsius, more than half a degree Celsius warmer than the 1991 to 2020 average. Even after the El Nino, a more moderate La Nina cycle took over, the ocean stayed hot from July to December 2024, entering the record books second only to the same period in 2023. From June to October, Antarctica reached its second lowest extent over, also behind 2023. Increasing sea surface temperatures always lead to accelerated evaporation. Those concentrations exceeding the 1991 to 2020 average by 5%. Those extreme rainfalls and its own greenhouse gas. This is saying that Europe was hit by the 2024 record heat. And then it's talking about the impacts of heat stress. It's saying that in the report, the Paris Agreement considers the 1.5 degrees threshold breached only if that is the average temperature increase over a 20-year stretch. So there's still time to act, but we have to act now. Otherwise, we'll see more forest fires. So I'm just going to go to the report. I'm just going up. Okay. So this is the Global Climate Highlights Report. It's a program of the European Union, CONUPIS, Climate Change Service, and ECMWF. I don't think I have any highlight feature on this. So around the world, the globe is 0.72 degrees, and it's 1.60 versus pre-industrial. It's 0.72 above 1991 to 2000, and it's 15.10 degrees Celsius is the actual temperature, and this is the highest. Second highest is 2023. Europe is 1.47 above 1991 to 2000, and it's the highest. Arctic is the fourth highest. Extrapolar ocean is the highest as well. The Copernicus Climate Change Service, they are looking at the data and relative to the pre-industrial levels, which uses 1850 to 1900, and a modern reference period, which is 1991 to 2000. And then all those statistics are from the ECMWF Global Reanalysis data set. Says that 2024 was the warmest year in a multi-data set record of global temperature going back to 1850. 2024 had the highest global average temperature of 15.10 degrees Celsius, 0.12 degrees Celsius higher than the previous highest annual value in 2023. From this report, 2024 was 0.7 degrees warmer than the 1991 to 2020 average, and 1.6 degrees Celsius warmer than the pre-industrial level, making it the first calendar year to exceed 1.5 above that level. And then the last 10 years have been the warmest 10 years on record. And then each month, January to June, was warmer than the corresponding month in any previous year. August 2024 equaled the record warmth of August 2023. And then July to December were the second warmest for the time of year after the corresponding months in 2023. And then here's a graph. And then global surface temperature increases over pre-industrial. And then those monthly global air temperature anomalies, and then each dot shows an anomaly for a month. And then those 1980s, 2000s, 2020s, 2023, and 2024. Um, 11 months and 75% of days had global average surface air temperatures more than 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels. So this is getting close to irreversible impacts of climate change. But there will be negative impacts, but if we take action now, there will be less severe impacts. The annual surface air temperatures were above the 1991 to 2000 average across most of the globe, 91%. And in 2023, northern Canada experienced some of the largest anomalies with values around 3 degrees Celsius above average. And each degree of warming has a significant impact. Much of the globe experienced more days than average with at least strong heat stress. Several regions of the globe saw more days on average with extreme heat stress. And then they talk about health impacts of the heat stress. They looked at sea temperatures. And then atmospheric water vapor reached record highs. In 2024 at 4.9% above the 1991 to 2020 average, markedly higher than 3.4% and 3.3% in 2016 and 2023. As atmosphere warms, it can hold more water vapor. And this is 7% more for each additional degrees Celsius. And then it talks about the increased extreme rainfall events and more intense tropical storms. Oh, this is a good headline. How unusual was the global warmth of 2023 and 2024? Since the late 1970s, the global warming trend has averaged an increase of about 0.2 degrees Celsius per decade. And then those like natural fluctuations of 0.3 degrees Celsius. And then it says several relatively strong El Nino events with oceanic Nino indices peaking at or above 1.5 degrees Celsius occurred during this period, resulting in pairs of consecutive years that were at the time the warmest 2 years on record. The most recent such years are 2023 and 2024. And then they looked at a statistical approach with a moving average. And then they were using a moving average, the only warmer years compared to the climatological state at the time of 1877 and 1898. And this was during the Great Drought of 1875 to 1878. And then at the time, 50 million people died in India, China, and parts of Africa and South America. And there was a strong El Nino. And then 1944 was a relatively warm year. So it could result in millions of deaths. 1944 is hard to say because that was during World War II, where a lot of people were killed in Europe, murdered by various governments. Let's see. Yeah, so it is unusual, one of the more unusual increases. They use a smooth temperature. I don't know what that. I guess that refers to the moving averages. Let's see. There was a heading called "What Factors Were Behind the Warmth of 2023 and 2024." The El Nino was a strong but not exceptional event, having a peak oceanic Nino index of 2 degrees Celsius, smaller than the peaks of 2015 to 2016, 1997 to 1998, 1982 to 1993 events. In addition, the El Nino a significant fraction of the atmospheric warming and moistening in 2023 and 2024 appears to originate from SSTs. I don't know what that refers to. Across other ocean basins. And they appear to be warm, exceptionally warm because of accelerating human-induced climate warming and an unusually warm phase of oceanic variability with unprecedented SST anomalies in multiple regions. Other factors which may have had an influence on one or both fields include... Okay, so they're directly saying in this report that it's because of human-induced climate warming. And then they're saying other examples. There's the Hunga Tonga Hunga Hapa volcanic eruption in January 2022. There's low sulfur dioxide emissions by shipping. Warming due to reduced aerosols. There's a reduced amount of low-level cloud, warming of the climate system from increased absorption of solar radiation. There's increased solar energy reaching Earth. And warming from increased water vapor. Expectations for 2025 and beyond. I think this is important. Oh, it's time for me to stand and I watch. So it's saying that 2025 will become the third or even the second warmest year on record globally. And then at least 1 year between 2024 and 2028 would be more than 1.5 degrees Celsius above the 1850 to 1900 year level and become the warmest year on record. And then a single year could be 1.9 degrees Celsius. And then there's a 47% chance that the 5-year average will exceed the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold. And then those extreme events that happened in 2024. I don't need to get into extreme events. They talk about sea ice. Looks like there was almost a record low sea ice. Oh, okay. There is a record low sea ice. Okay. Sea ice. Part of 2024 saw sea ice extent reach historically low values around Antarctica. There was 422.1 parts per million in 2024 of carbon dioxide and 1,897 parts per billion respectively. Of gas. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm gonna go take a break. I'll be back after the break. Okay, I am back, and I have an article from NBC News. Entirely foreseeable, the LA files are the worst case scenario, experts field. And this is by Apu Gomes. There was prolonged Santa Ana winds, and they had months without significant rain. The blazes are not a surprise, according to an NBC News review of after-action reports following previous files. There was a risk map for fires. So maybe like some areas like are more prone to fires than other areas. It's entirely foreseeable, said Cheryl Miller. Cheryl Miller, professor of environmental analysis and history at Pulmonia College. Homes are being built deep into the fire zones, and they know that the fire zones and that they're dangerous. City Hall and county government has constantly greenlit development in places of greater and greater risks. Risk of wildfire to homes in Los Angeles County is higher than in 99% of counties in the United States. Oh my gosh. This is... Whoa. I'm just writing that in my chat. In the chat with... I'm reading that file risk is higher in Los Angeles then and City Hall approved homes and this is according to federal analysis. And in Pacific Palisades, the Hollywood Hills, and Altamira, 3 areas where blazes are burning, have very high fire hazard severity. And that's according to the mapping from the Los Angeles Fire Department. Oh, and then there is a map. Oh, I have to sign in. Oh, maybe I don't. Okay, oh, maybe that's what the what is highlighted. Very high risk map. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that looks like where the files are, based on what I've seen in the news. Oh. Stream. So yeah, maybe we shouldn't be building new houses in those areas. Maybe I can see where the map is. LA file map. And so like, let's see, images. Okay, so let's see, the palace file. Oh, does it? Why not? Okay. Maybe I have to get that to go to a full screen. Oh, I have to visit that site. Oh, there it is. Okay. The Palace file. Oh, remote 808. So Palace's file. I'm just loading my screen, making sure that I haven't missed anyone. Okay. That lines up. Okay, let's see. Where's Santa Monica? Yeah, that roughly lines up. Well, there's an increased. It looks like there's an increased risk. That red area. Eaton file. What is that closest to? Eaton file is West Colvica, Angeles National Forest. Possibly. It's harder to pinpoint. And then there's the host file. Yeah, it looks like it's yeah, more file risk there. That's interesting. So go back to the article that I was reading, and then I was told that the city cut the file budget. So I'll look into that. So yeah, the files are where the homes should not be built. It looks like. And then there was the Woosley file in November 2018, and then after action review. The public has a perception that the public agencies can always protect them. as an incident the size of a Woolsey file shows, this is not always possible. Now I said in a report. From the report on the Woolsey file. Let's see. There was 250,000 people to evacuate. More than 1,000 homes in Ventura and Los Angeles were destroyed. And there was an overwhelmed resources on the scene. Given the weather and the fire department's limitations, the review said the initial response in Malibu and along the Pacific Coast Highway had to focus on preserving lives and providing safety, not protecting property, but the public and policymakers did not fully grasp that reality. And then the report said, even adding more fire engines and taking steps to better prepare homes for potential fires may not be enough to protect new developments in fire-prone areas. And then the current fire weather cycle will return, even if it stops. And then there was not enough firefighters to handle the situation given the weather countries. And then there's, quote, LA County and all 29 fire departments in the county are not fully prepared for this type of widespread disaster. So maybe we shouldn't rebuild every time that there's a natural disaster. People should be building outside those fire zone areas. That would reduce the pressure on the fire departments. And new development should not be approved in the extreme fire risk areas. There should be more consideration of environmental natural disaster risk. There should be greater risk management. Pacific Palisades is a meeting point between the suburbs and wildland. Hillsides often battered by winds. There was fire-prone copperal plants like Manzantia, scrub oak, and chamise, which is sometimes called greasewood. And then they could be expected to burn once every 30 to 130 years. But blazes are expected in populated areas every 20 years or less because of ignitions caused by human activity. Ignitions. And that's according to the California Wildlife and Forest Resilience Task Force. So this natural disaster is a human-made disaster based on poor planning and poor urban planning. And people will die because of poor urban planning. And this is happening in Canada. I'll close my door. This is happening in Canada, the US, and around the world. We need all governments to be accountable for the decisions that they make. We can't be risking people's lives. It's not acceptable. And then, this is a map of the fire hazard severity zone. And they overlap with the latest fire perimeter. At least one. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is as of January 9th at 7:55. So they overlap. Sprawl in the foothills now means that when a fire rolls through, as it does, it's leaping from one roof to another. So urban sprawl is a huge factor here. We can't be building how we've built for the last 50, 70 years. All these small single-family homes, all these subdivisions. We shouldn't be expanding into hazardous areas. We make the mistake too many times. And then the city and county and state levels. California has invested in programs to decrease fire risk and devoted more resources and staffing to fight these fires year-round. The legislature in July extended the peak fire fighting staffing season from 5 to 9 months. And then the city and county of Los Angeles have implemented brush removal programs. And homeowners are required to clear brush, trim trees, and maintain clean roofs. And then state code also requires an inspection before a house can be sold. But everybody in the neighborhood has to be committed. And then insurers have become leery. And then they haven't had a significant rain since July and a dangerous windstorm. Okay, and then it's saying, the article says, research does not suggest that Santa Ana wind events are becoming likelier because of climate change, but rising temperatures and longer droughts means a higher likelihood of conditions ripe for fire when the winds strike. And that's according to Daniel Schwein, a climate scientist at UCLA. Climate change is increasing the overlap between extremely dry vegetation conditions later in the season and the occurrence of these wind events. And then there's an article published in the Journal of Nature Reviews which suggests hydroclimate whiplash, a term for quick swings between intensity, wet and dry weather, has accelerated around the globe. Yeah. So I'll go to. I'll look at what's happening on CNN. Oh, before I go to CNN to look at like what's happening currently, I saw. I want to look at the budget cuts. Says CBS, according to them, there was an article a month before fires. LA fire chief warned budget cuts were hampering emergency response. So there were budget cuts, and then there was a department memo. Funding for the city's fire department decreased by $17.6 million, or 2%, between 2024 and 2025, and the 2023-24 fiscal year. And then there was, in November, they approved a 4-year, $203 million contract with the firefighters union to help boost wages and health benefits, drawn from the budget's general fund. The LAFD Fire Chief Christian Crowley wrote to the Board of Fire Commissioners that the budget cuts have adversely affected the department's ability to maintain core operations. There was a $7 million reduction in overtime hours, severely limited the department's capability to prepare for, train for, and respond to large-scale emergencies, and affected the capacity for brush clearance inspections and residential inspections. And then there was a memo from 2024 in July. There was an eliminating of 58 positions. Like, what are they doing? And then the mayor is saying that Karen Bass saying that the budget cuts did not impact the department's ability to handle the ongoing files. It seems like they might have, but those quotes, there were no reductions that were made that would have impacted the situation that we were dealing with over the last couple of days. And then she also emphasized the additional funds the department was set to receive from the city's contract with the union. Oh, yeah, Qualley said that the cuts, 17.6 million cut, the department reduced non-essential responsibilities, but added there was a certain factor that reduced the responses. And then, quote, "It is not unfair to say that we are in crisis mode within the Los Angeles Fire Department," Hadley Hayes said, and quote, "Anybody who knows a council person really and truly needs to be either going to city council, talking to the council person, talking to the neighborhood councils, doing whatever they need to do because we are at a crisis point." And then there was overspending by $66.6 million. So, like, they were already under budget, and they got hit with further restrictions. Oh, and then this is interesting. The police department increased by $125.9 million, a 7% increase. What the heck is going on? They cut the file, but then they increased the police budget. So they're not treating every emergency department fairly. And is there an increase in crime? No, there's probably not an increase in crime. It's absurd. And if there is an increase in crime, I don't believe it. There has to be that data. But we've known that police target Black, Indigenous, and other people that are not white at a disproportionate rate. And I know that this is true in Los Angeles. There's been police riots. So let's see if I can get the memo. So there is the memo. Let's see. Memo. It's a few pages long. So there's a summary. They're facing unprecedented operational challenges due to the elimination of critical civilian positions and a $7 million reduction in overtime variable staffing hours. They've adversely affected the department's ability to maintain core operations such as technology and communications infrastructure, payroll processing. We need to pay the people that are putting out the files. Training, fire prevention, and community education. Community education is often overlooked, but it is essential to have. Especially if you have huge areas that are highly prone to forest fires. There's some other details. Increased overtime demands and processing delays undermine operational efficiency and staff well-being. If staff well-being is impacted, then that means that those people take sick. And if people take sick more often, other people are going to be taken sick. Or they leave the fire department, and then this increases the burden on other people. It says inadequate staffing exacerbates personal grievances and delays vital administrative processes, diminishing workplace equity and impacting employee morale when their pay is inadequate. And then Fire Prevention Bureau, the FPB, staffing reductions, particularly management, analysis, environmental technicians, a senior administrative clerk, and administrative clerks limit the Bureau's ability to perform necessary clerical work to process California Privacy Rights Act requests, billing, and plan check permits, data entries into state database, resume the Certified Unified Program Agency Payment Plan Initiative, respond to inquiries and update the construction plan reviews associated with homeless shelters, affordable housing projects, and commercial occupancies. And billing of Assembly Bill 38 inspections, which are required when a change of ownership occurs and a SKU cannot close until the results of the inspections are sent to the purchasers. Delayed service and processing will affect compliance timelines and the department's ability to sustain critical prevention activities. Let's see. There's the Information Technology Bureau. They sustained the loss of key technical and administrative roles that directly support the 911 system and communication systems used to dispatch fire and emergency medical personnel. I don't know, based on this, I don't know how the claim can be made that there's no impact on the fighting the fires that are currently happening. Those delayed maintenance updates or repairs of critical systems that jeopardize the ability to answer 911 calls, endanger frontline firefighters' ability to communicate, and compromises public safety during emergencies. Like, what is the mayor talking about? Oh my gosh. The loss of management analysis, senior administrative clerk, and administrative clerk affects the department's ability to adequately respond to federal and state audits, exposing the department to compliance risk and potential financial penalties. So there could be even more money. Timely coordinate responses to legal subpoenas and summons, increasing legal exposure to the risk of reputational harm. And then there's capability to uphold legal, financial, and operational accountability, ultimately increasing liability risk and compromising the department's ability to safeguard the public and safety and maintain trust. Let's see. Training and Support Bureau was cut. And then apparatus repair delay directly compromised the department's ability to respond to the city's growing emergency call volume. And then overtime, and then they talked about overtime hours. There's an impact to critical functions that often rely on overtime to ensure continuity. Fire Protection Bureau. There's an inability to complete required brush clearance inspections, which are critical for mitigating fire risk in high hazard areas. As I pointed out earlier, and another article pointed out, there's a lot of the fires are in the high hazard areas. I think most of them are. They overlap. At least the ones that I've learned about. So there's a chance that if there was a brush clearance, there may have been less houses built. Okay, so there's impact. The reduction in variable hours undermines the department's ability to maintain critical operational and safety standards, delays essential services, and places additional strain on existing personnel who are already navigating increased workloads due to staffing shortages. And then those like other things. Oh, and then those like these slides that'll. Oh, maybe I can. Oh, these are just like slides that'll update. So it's just like bubble slides. I guess this is the conclusion. Those are key impacts: delayed maintenance and updates, administrative backlog, workforce equity challenges, specialized operational impact, reduced fire prevention, training and community emergency preparedness and response. And we know that climate change is making everything worse, and cutting the fire department budget, the decision to do that in a climate crisis was perhaps one of the worst decisions that a city could make, along with approving housing in Los Angeles. Maybe I can see anyone talking about it. LA homes should not be approved in file areas. I'll type in and then there's insurance crisis in Los Angeles. A bunch of homes were dropped by the insurance agency in July. So this, oh my gosh, like. This is saying thousands of Los Angeles homeowners were dropped by the insurers before the Paladis file. There's an insurance nightmare. Oh, and who's it by? It is by Amy, Aimee Picchi, Picchi. Oh, did I change my screen? Okay, I did. Okay. And 1,600 policies in Pacific Paladis were dropped by State Farm in July. And then Michael Sewell said, California Department of Insurance spokesman said in a Thursday email to CBS Money Watch. And then there's analysis of insurance data. I found that State Farm also dropped more than 2,000 policies in 2 other Los Angeles zip codes, which include Brentwood, Calabas, Hidden Hills, and Monte Nindo neighborhoods. And then State Farm said, our number one priority right now is the safety of our customers, which they just reduced. Agents and employees impacted by the fires and assisting our customers in the midst of this tragedy, which they dropped, many of them, that all directly impacted. Absurd. But, governments should not be building in these areas that even insurers are not willing to insure areas. If an insurance agency is dropping, let's see, there's a trend of private insurers, including Allstate and Farmers Insurance, of dropping California policies or halting underwriting, leaving homeowners with the choice of getting coverage due to insurer of last resort, which is the California Fair Access to Insurance Requirements Plan, or FAIR Plan, or forgo insurance altogether. For these homes are millions of dollars. And then there's the FAIR Plan provides basic fire insurance coverage for properties in high-risk areas when traditional insurance companies will not. So that, maybe, here's a thought, the government should buy these houses in the highest risk areas. I don't know. Maybe they should be if instead of having, it might end up being cheaper to relocate hundreds of thousands of people. And save lives. 1,400 of the towns. Okay. Homeowners in Pacific Palisades had increasingly shifted to the FAIR Plan, with roughly 1,400 of the town's 9,000 homes covered by the plan in 2024, more than quadruple the number in 2020. Prior to the disaster, about 1 in 7 homeowners were reliant on the FAIR Plan. The Palisades fire could become the costliest wildfire in history because of the number of buildings that have been destroyed and as the structures rank among the nation's most expensive homes. And then there's stress on the state's already fragile insurance market. And then there was a report about the climate change impacts on the insurance market. With fires continuing to rage across the Los Angeles area, the estimated cost of the disaster is surging. Potential property damage and economic losses could amount to as much as $150 billion, according to Thursday's estimate from AccuWeather. That would make the wildfires by far the most destructive in U.S. history. There was a financial crisis. So other regions facing non-renewal rates are southern New England, the Carolinas, New Mexico, and counties in the northern Rockies, Oklahoma, and Hawaii. And then climate change makes risk unpredictable. Risk makes insurance unaffordable or unavailable. No insurance makes mortgages unavailable. Without mortgages, property values crash. cascading like 2008 into general economy. White House vote on Thursday on X. So, who's White House? I'm not sure. So, like, but if maybe they shouldn't be building in the high risk areas. They'll giving insurance. Let's see. Let's see. I'll go to a different article. Okay, so this is part of the problem. This says homes for sale in fire zones are actually in high demand by Yale Bielowski Kennedy. So those celebrities that own a lot of these homes, but not just celebrities, a lot of people of all incomes. The California Association of Realtors forecasts that the state's housing market will go up in 2025. A 10.5% increase in single-family home sales. And median home prices will increase by 4.6%. It does say events like the Pacific Palisades fires might be strong deterrent despite the highly desirable location of many of these houses. And then it's saying, what does this mean for sellers who are able to leave and start fresh in a less dangerous locale? It says, the article says, if you live in a fire zone, it makes sense you would want to leave. In 2024, there were 62,000 wildfires across the county, which burned more than 8.8 million acres. I'm reading, like, this is happening in the U.S., so I'm reading U.S. measurements. If buyers are doing the homework like consulting fire maps of the area, they might be convinced to buy. The buy is worth the risk. Demand increasing, hope is not all lost in offloading property. For many buyers, especially in high-demand areas like Malibu, the risks are weighted against the lifestyle benefits. There's people that are willing to pay a premium for location and amenities, even knowing that there is a risk of fires. So there has to be, at some point, a restriction on the homes that are built in these areas. And then it's often about educating buyers on risk mitigation strategies like home hardening and fire-resistant landscapes. So those low property values, skyrocketing insurance premiums, and risk of losing everything can curb the enthusiasm and make buyers very hesitant, no matter how desirable the location is. And then people might shy away from a commission, agents. In California, people must disclose that the home is in a very high fire hazard severity zone. I'm not sure about the other categories. And that includes areas currently battling fires like the Pallades fire. And then that's said by Max Duncan Knight, climate data scientist at Deep Sky. Let's see. So maybe I'll look at. So I'm looking at CNN articles. LA begins to contain deadly fires. 10,000 structures are destroyed. And then there's some photos. Oh, I'll look at some photos. Oh, did I end up switching? Okay, I did switch. So this is the photos. Oh wow, I can't make out any houses, so that's after, and then okay, so I can make out the road. Okay, so some homes have oh, this is as the fire is still going, so those homes are likely gone. And then, oh yeah, these homes that I'm getting to are like completely gone. Interesting. And this article is before and after. See the destruction caused by the LA fires. Oh, this is Potrero Canyon. Yeah, there are a lot of houses that are destroyed, and they look like single-family houses. Let's see. This is houses near Pallades Charter High School. A lot of houses look like they've been destroyed. Oh, and these photos were taken like a couple days apart. Alandia, California. Yeah, these houses are like every house in this photo is gone, pretty much, except for maybe one or two. But yeah, I can see the basement in some of these. Um, Drake and Way, same. So we'll go back. Um, so I will go to I'm going to switch to games.